For months, astronomers assured us that 3I Atlas would be nothing more than a dazzling flyby, a harmless interstellar visitor skimming past Mars before disappearing into the darkness beyond. But the universe rarely does anything without purpose. And now, James Webb, our most powerful eye into the void, has returned data that completely overturns that calm narrative. The numbers no longer align. The trajectory is no longer stable. And for the first time, scientists are quietly voicing a possibility no one wanted to consider. 3I Atlas may be on a collision course with Mars. This is no longer just a story about a comet. It is about deliberate adjustments, clock-like gas emissions, and an object that behaves far less like a drifting rock and far more like a guided machine. The deeper the data is examined, the clearer the pattern becomes. 3I Atlas is not wandering. It appears to be correcting, steering, refining its path, and the red planet lies directly ahead. Whatever this object is not finished with our solar system. Let's go deeper. When 3I Atlas was first detected on July 1st, it appeared ordinary by interstellar standards, a fast-moving blur wrapped in a glowing coma, racing inward at unprecedented speed, traveling at nearly 87 kilometers per second relative to the Sun. It could cross the distance between Earth and the Moon in less than 80 minutes. But what shocked researchers wasn't how fast it was moving. It was how it behaved. Natural comets tend to slow, fragment, or stabilize as they approach the inner solar system. 3I Atlas did none of these. Instead, it began accelerating subtly at first, then consistently, even more unsettling. Its path began to tighten. Minor course changes became measurable, and its surrounding cloud of gas and dust doubled in brightness within weeks. Spectral data revealed intense ultraviolet spikes and carbon dioxide outgassing at levels never recorded in any known comet. It no longer resembled a drifting remnant of ice and dust. It behaved more like a guided weapon. Then Webb's deep field instruments detected something that changed everything. Rhythmic pulses emerging from the tail. Not chaotic jets caused by solar heating, but controlled emissions occurring at precise 17-minute intervals. Not randomness pattern, not erosion thrust. As Webb, Gemini South, and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory continued tracking the object, the mathematics painted an increasingly disturbing picture. What was once considered a safe near pass shifted into a potential catastrophe. Updated projections place the closest approach to Mars at just 1.95 million kilometers, an alarmingly small margin on a cosmic scale. Worse still, simulations showed that an added velocity of only 10 kilometers per second, a fraction of what those pulses could generate, would be enough to redirect the object into a direct impact. Think about that. A whisper of thrust, a single adjustment, and Mars becomes ground zero. This degree of control is unheard of in natural bodies. It appears as if 3I Atlas is using its own outgassing as a system of microthrusters, fine-tuning its approach exactly as a spacecraft would. Even more troubling, those thrust vectors align perfectly with Mars' orbital plane. Scientists are no longer just observing an object. They are watching something aim, and the window for impact continues to narrow. Between September 19th and 30th, a single outburst could be enough to seal the outcome. This concern is no longer limited to online theorists or science fiction speculation. A team led by Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb has released a paper proposing a bold conclusion. 3I Atlas may be engineered. The data supports the idea. Radar reflections from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter and Goldstone antennas returned hard. Metallic echoes, not the soft, diffuse signatures typical of icy comets. Internal NASA sources reportedly describe the reflections as unprecedented. Add to this the strange green, needle-thin streams captured in high-exposure amateur images. 3 luminous beams converging toward Mars, pulsing in sync with the exhaust patterns. Taken together, the evidence becomes difficult to dismiss. This object is not behaving according to natural laws alone. Loeb proposes a chilling scenario. 3I Atlas may be intentionally approaching Mars, not merely to crash, but to deliver something. Probes, signals, biological material, whatever its purpose. Coincidence no longer explains it. Mars is being approached with surgical precision, and humanity is watching an operation unfold that it barely understands. if impact occurs. The consequences would be staggering. With an estimated mass of 10 billion tons and an impact velocity of 57 kilometers per second relative to Mars, the energy release would exceed 2 million megatons. That is thousands of times more powerful than the largest nuclear explosion ever produced on Earth. The resulting crater would span roughly 60 kilometers in width and plunge 5 kilometers deep, ejecting debris across Martian orbit, some of which could eventually intersect with Earth's trajectory. But the danger goes far beyond flying debris. Mars currently hosts dozens of scientific assets, rovers, orbiters, climate monitors, and experiments searching for life. An impact would not just destroy hardware, it would erase decades of research, cripple communication networks, and potentially trigger contamination, events we are completely unprepared to manage. Space agencies across the world, ESA, Roscosmos, CNSA, and JAXA, have reportedly initiated planetary defense discussions, not against an alien armada, but against a single object acting disturbingly like a vehicle. For decades, scientists have believed Mars once supported life, and may still harbor it beneath its frozen surface. Subsurface lakes, dormant microbes, and ancient ecosystems locked under permafrost are the very reasons we have invested so heavily in exploring the planet. But if 3I Atlas strikes, all of that enters uncharted territory. The heat of impact would fracture deep layers of crust, exposing environments never before accessed. And if the object carries organic compounds, or worse, synthetic biological systems embedded within its exhaust, the collision could merge two independent evolutionary paths. Some biologists describe this as reverse panspermia, not life spreading outward from Mars, but life being deliberately seeded into it. That possibility raises a chilling question. What if destruction was never the goal? What if 3I Atlas is a delivery mechanism and Mars is the incubator? As the object approached its closest point to the red planet, James Webb conducted one final ultra-deep scan. The results were classified for 48 hours before a limited release reached the public. But leaks from within the Webb project suggest something far more disturbing. The NIR SPEC and MIRI instruments reportedly detected traces of synthetic polymers, molecules resembling human-made plastics and carbon nanotube structures mixed with natural gases. These are not materials that form through known cosmic processes. They are engineered. Webb spectrographs also identified persistent isotopic anomalies in carbon and hydrogen that match no known solar system source. In simple terms, 3I Atlas contains substances that should not exist in space, and all of it is heading toward a planet that may still be biologically active. The data was quietly shared with major space agencies. Emergency task forces were assembled, not because intervention was possible, but because time was running out to understand what humanity was facing. As unease spread, NASA made an unexpected move: silence. Press briefings stopped. Telemetry from Perseverance and Tian-1 showed unexplained gaps. Questions about impact probabilities were deflected. Something had changed. Then, in a classified transmission later, leaked by a whistleblower, a phrase appeared: impact protocol initiated. What that means remains unclear. But insiders claim encrypted signals were transmitted from Earth-based stations to every operational Mars asset. That is curious, given there is no known way to deflect or intercept 3I Atlas, unless those signals were not meant to protect Mars, but to prepare it. If 3I Atlas is intelligent, or even semi-autonomous, it may respond to energy signatures, orbital markers, or encoded transmissions. And if Earth just activated those systems, we may have done more than observe. We may have answered. And whatever intelligence, if any, lies behind this object now knows that we are aware. A group of cryptographers at the SETI Institute pursued an approach no one else had considered. They took publicly available astronomical parameters, the object's trajectory, velocity, gravitational influences, and time of closest approach, values known to every professional astronomer on the planet, and converted them into binary form. From there, they applied the same compression methods used in deep space communication systems. What emerged was not noise. It was organized and repetitive. Embedded within the data was a sequence of numerical intervals that mapped directly to atomic numbers: 6, 8, 14, and 26, carbon, oxygen, silicon, and iron, the foundational elements of both biological life and advanced machinery. Interwoven with these were prime number countdowns and spacing patterns consistent with recursive signaling protocols. In essence, the entire flight path of 3I Atlas may itself be a message in motion. One transmitted not through radio waves, but through behavior, timing, and physical presence. That would mean we are not simply observing a route toward Mars. We are witnessing an act of communication. Even the impact window becomes part of the syntax. A collision would be one statement, a miss would be another. Either way, the response may already be written into the structure of the cosmos itself. As projections narrowed, planetary scientists noticed a deeply unsettling coincidence. The updated descent corridor of 3I Atlas passed directly over Elysium Planitia, a geologically young region of Mars known for its strikingly symmetrical terrain. Orbital imagery shows concentric ridges, spiral-like flows, and surface patterns that closely resemble Fibonacci sequences. These features were not new, but what drew intense attention was alignment. The object's projected vector intersected precisely with the center of a circular depression less than 3.5 kilometers wide. The basin shows no signs of impact origin, no volcanic residue, and no known formation mechanism. At its center lies a deposit of crystalline silicates with refractive characteristics found nowhere else on Mars. When struck by sunlight, these crystals emit brief, periodic infrared flashes. For years, this was dismissed as a geological anomaly. Now, scientists are asking a different question. Was this formation random? Or was it a marker, a beacon, a rendezvous point? And if so, who defined its coordinates? Just as the James Webb Space Telescope reacquired 3I Atlas from an alternate tracking angle, an unexpected anomaly appeared, trailing behind the object, not physically connected, yet maintaining a fixed separation of approximately 0.07 astronomical units, was a secondary shadow. It was not a debris cloud. It was not gas. It was something darker. Radar systems failed to register it. Infrared instruments could not warm it. Yet photometric analysis showed a sharp, consistent drop in background light that moved in perfect synchrony with 3I Atlas. As if bound by an invisible tether, the distance never changed, unaffected by gravity, acceleration, or solar influence. When mapped in polar coordinates, the anomaly traced a flawless orbital curve. Something was following 3I Atlas, not colliding with it, not escorting it, but mirroring it. Speculation intensified rapidly. Was it a secondary object, a drone, a gravitational artifact, or something else entirely? A field, a residual imprint, a protocol made visible for the first time. Researchers began to wonder whether 3I Atlas might not be the central actor in this event, but merely the carrier of something far more elusive. As global attention fixed on the projected impact window, another disturbing pattern emerged. When scientists overlaid the complete trajectory of 3I Atlas with its closest approaches to the Sun, Earth, and Mars, they found that each alignment coincided with specific astronomical resonance dates. These were not arbitrary moments, but key orbital harmonics studied for millennia by ancient cultures. September 23rd, October 5th, November 11th. These dates align not only with equinoxes and planetary transits, but with rare gravitational synchronizations that recur in cycles of approximately 54 years. Remarkably, the last time the inner planets occupied similar orbital positions during a cometary passage was in 1908, the year of the Tunguska event. The implications sent shockwaves through the scientific community. How could a random interstellar object arrive precisely at moments of such astronomical significance? Unless it was not random at all, unless it was timing itself, operating on a clock older and more precise than any built by human hands. This was not coincidence. It was structure. And in the cosmos, structure almost always implies intention. Then came a revelation that pushed the discussion into territory long considered off-limits in mainstream science. Consciousness in Motion, a neurocosmology group at Princeton, studying synchronized neural activity during deep meditative states, noticed something extraordinary. when participants were exposed to the pulsation frequencies embedded in 3I Atlas's light curve, particularly the recurring 17-minute emission cycles, their brainwave patterns began to synchronize, not just within individuals, but across multiple subjects in separate rooms, isolated and unaware of one another. This was not simple resonance. It was neurological entrainment, as if the signal carried not only mechanical information, but cognitive influence. And if such an effect could manifest across millions of kilometers, what does that imply about its origin? Could it be that 3I Atlas is not a rock, not a spacecraft, but a thought in motion, awareness traveling through space like a seed, a message not meant to be read, but experienced, something that activates upon recognition, something that becomes part of you the moment it is understood? If that is true, then a physical impact on Mars may be secondary. The real event may already be unfolding within us, as concern over a potential collision intensified. A small circle of archaeoastronomers quietly began comparing 3I Atlas's trajectory with ancient sky records, not only from modern Western archives, but from Babylonian tablets, Mayan codices, and Tibetan cosmological texts. What they uncovered was staggering. A recurring motif known as the flame serpent appeared across civilizations, describing a celestial object emerging from the outer darkness, curving unnaturally near the sun, and directing itself toward the red god, Mars. The same sinuous path appeared in stone carvings and cave etchings across continents. One artifact stood out above all others, a pre-Incan calendar stone from Tiwanaku depicting four radiating lines extending outward from Mars following the object's descent. When analyzed using photogrammetry, those lines align precisely with Webb's projected debris dispersion pattern in the event of a Martian impact. What does that imply? That someone may have seen this coming, not in our era, but thousands of years ago. It suggests that 3I Atlas is not simply passing through history. It may be history repeating itself, and Mars may not be the final target at all. It may be the trigger. Then something completely unforeseen occurred. After days of operating in a low-power state, the ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter registered an abrupt surge in xenon isotopes within the upper layers of Mars' atmosphere. Initially, researchers attributed it to solar activity, but the chemical signature didn't match. This material was not descending from space. It was rising from below the surface. The source traced back to deep fractures near Cerberus Fossae, one of the most tectonically unstable regions on the planet. Almost simultaneously, seismic readings spiked. Subsurface temperatures climbed by 3 Kelvin, and in a development that stunned researchers into silence, magnetometer data revealed a faint yet highly organized magnetic pulse repeating every 17 minutes, the exact same interval as 3I Atlas's gas emissions. At that moment, the question shifted. It was no longer about whether the object might strike Mars, but whether Mars was already responding, as if the planet itself was not under threat, but being triggered. Something buried deep within the crust, dormant for countless millennia, had begun to awaken. With each passing hour, the concept of impact began to feel less physical and more temporal. The Webb science team observed that the light fluctuations from 3I Atlas no longer matched a simple rotational model. Instead, they followed a recursive, layered timing pattern. 7 pulses, a pause, 3 pulses, a pause, 13 pulses, and so on. These values were not arbitrary. When plotted together, they formed a Fibonacci-based spiral, a structure long associated with organic growth, memory encoding, and even the coiling geometry of human DNA. Mathematicians and cryptographers working together reached an unsettling conclusion. 3I Atlas was not transmitting distance or position. It was transmitting time, not measured in seconds or hours, but in cycles, epochs, and resonant phases. The object was not merely arriving. It was synchronizing. The countdown, it seemed, was not leading to an explosion, but to alignment, a convergence of energy, orbital mechanics, and awareness itself. And when that countdown ended, it might not result in destruction, but in transition, a shift in perception, or perhaps in the very structure of reality. In the final 72 hours before the projected impact window, another signal emerged. Low frequency, infrasonic, completely inaudible to human ears. yet unmistakable in its structure. It wasn't coming from space, and it wasn't reflecting off Mars. It was originating beneath Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system. This region, believed to be long dormant, suddenly emitted a coherent harmonic frequency detected independently by orbiters from ESA, CNSA, and NASA. The signal matched no known geological or atmospheric process, but when visualized as a spectrogram, it formed a spiral, an almost perfect mirror of the waveform emitted by 3I Atlas during its closest approach to the Sun. The scientific community fell into silence. What does it mean when a planet answers before an object arrives? Was Olympus Mons echoing something? Or was it speaking? Had Mars been waiting for this precise moment? And if this was the planet awakening, what happens when it fully opens its eyes? As the final hours approached, an overlooked data set resurfaced. A thermal scan from the Mars Odyssey orbiter taken nearly 20 years earlier showed a faint heat anomaly beneath the surface of Utopia Planitia. At the time, it was dismissed as reflected sunlight. But when the same region was rescanned after 3I Atlas's approach, the signature had not only returned, it had intensified. Even more disturbing, its shape matched an ancient glyph carved into the rock walls of the Dorsa and Mongala Fossi. The symbol depicted a descending spiral colliding with a circle, flanked by two aligned planetary forms. The implication was staggering. Mars may preserve not just geological memory, but encoded celestial history. What if Mars is not merely a planet? What if it functions as a recorder, and 3I Atlas is the playback key? Then something truly impossible occurred. High-resolution imagery from ESA's Mars Express revealed movement in the dust plains south of Noctis Labyrinthus. It wasn't wind, it wasn't rover disturbance, it was emergence. Two flawless concentric ovals expanded outward from beneath the surface, slowly reshaping the terrain. Over 4 hours, the forms evolved into something unmistakable, an eye, tilted at exactly 23.5 degrees, Earth's axial tilt. The symbolism was undeniable, an eye observing us, or a mirror reflecting us back to ourselves. Scientists searched desperately for explanations, but none fit. Mars had blinked, not metaphorically, not symbolically, physically, intentionally. Something beneath the surface was not only aware, but aware of us, of our geometry, our orientation, and most disturbingly, of our signal, as if this entire sequence had been anticipated long before humanity ever existed. In one of the final readings before communications blackout, the James Webb Space Telescope performed a detailed spectral analysis of the molecular trail left behind by 3I Atlas. Among the volatile compounds and carbon chains was something that sent shockwaves through astrobiology labs worldwide. A repeating sequence of nuclear-based structures bearing an eerie resemblance to RNA. Not identical, not terrestrial, but undeniably organized for replication. A foreign form of prebiotic information drifting through space. As scientists began decoding it, an even darker possibility emerged. It wasn't just biological, it was responsive. Portions of the structure mirrored human-designed encryption patterns, others aligned with known musical intervals, as if the molecule itself was designed to interact with intelligence, to respond to interpretation. This was not inert comet dust. It was active code, life not expressed as cells, but as language. As 3I Atlas entered its final trajectory arc, the Global Astronomy Network identified one last alignment: Mars, Earth, and the Sun would briefly form a perfect straight line, with 3I Atlas intersecting the axis at the precise moment of solar transit. This was more than orbital chance. The configuration matched ancient megalithic alignments on Earth. Stonehenge, Nabta Playa, Teotihuacan, all oriented toward the same celestial geometry. For thousands of years, humanity had unknowingly constructed monuments aligned for this exact configuration. And now the alignment was returning, not as legend, but as function. Mars, the red witness; Earth, the awakened observer; the Sun, the eternal source; and 3I Atlas, not a rock, not an object, but a keystone sliding into the lock of planetary memory. This final position was not about devastation. It was about completion. And when alignment is achieved, something will change. Not out there, but within us. We looked to the sky and believed we saw a comet, a wandering fragment from some distant corner of the galaxy. We named it 3I Atlas. We calculated its path. We charted its arc. We convinced ourselves it was random. But what James Webb revealed was not randomness. It was choreography. This object did not merely arrive. It performed. It aligned. It responded. And as it passed through the solar system, every planet it encountered whispered back, through signals, pulses, harmonics, and memory. Mars did not simply react. It remembered, as if this was not the first encounter, as if this moment had been etched into the structure of gravity itself. Now, with one final adjustment, 3I Atlas has taken its place, not to destroy, but to fulfill something, a pattern, a convergence. Mars may be the stage, but Earth is the audience, and we were never meant to watch passively. We were always part of the design. Every telescope we built, every signal we transmitted, every theory we dismissed, all of it was received. The final impact may not carve a crater, but it has already begun reshaping what we believe about Mars, about life, and about ourselves. Because in the end, 3I Atlas did not come from Mars. It came for our attention, and now that it has it, the only real question left is this: what happens next?